going to go ahead and get everyone checked in here. So I see that we have David Rich from Building Value. If you could unmute, just confirm that information is correct.
That's correct.
Great, welcome. And we have Wes Menzel from the zoning department. Hi, Wes.
Hi, David.
Mr. Rich, are you expecting anyone else to join us here on the applicant owner side?
I believe Kent Huxell, who is, he's trying to log on now.
Okay. Would you like to give him a minute to do that?
Sure, but we can start.
You want to get started? Okay,
Sure.
Great. I need to read through our hearing script. This will basically just cover the procedure for the hearing. As soon as that gentleman tries to join, I'll just let him right in. This is the July 26, 2023 session of the zoning hearing examiner docket. The case for us today is case number ZH20230107. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any potential opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any potential opposing party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. If there were anyone here from the public, they would have an opportunity to speak after the applicant had presented his case. I'll give the zoning plans examiner, Wes Menzel, an opportunity to provide any testimony in addition to his staff report. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, the applicant will have an opportunity to respond to that opposition. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. In the event of any technical difficulties, I will do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly, but to the extent there is some defect that prevents us from me fully going forward with the hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay, Mr. Huxell, are you with us? If so.
I'm here, yes.
Okay, great. And you're also with Building Value, is that correct?
That's correct. I actually work both with Building Value and Easter Seals Redwood, which is the parent company of Building Value.
Gotcha. Okay. And are you planning on providing any testimony here today?
I'm not, but I can answer if called upon.
Okay, great. So at this point, I just need everyone who intends on providing any testimony here today at the hearing to make sure that they are off mute. Need them to raise their right hand so they can be sworn in. The zoning code requires that I swear anyone who's going to testify, I swear them in. So I will need everyone who's going to do that to, again, unmute and to raise their right hand. Need you to answer out loud. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Mr. Rich, then I assume you'll be taking the lead on the presentation here.
I'm not sure of exactly what we're looking for, but I'm here to answer any questions I can and lay out our proposal.
Sure, yeah. So let's see. I have you applying for zoning relief for under two different criteria. One is a variance to allow an accessory structure to be located in a technical front yard of the subject property. And another is a conditional use approval for the continued outdoor storage of materials in a manufacturing general zoning district. So in order to approve that, I need to typically hear some background information on what exactly it is you're intending on doing in terms of changes to the property, and then of course why you think those changes are appropriate and why I should grant the requested zoning relief for this property.
Certainly. I'd like to preface this by saying this, both of these conditions were approved 2 years ago prior to the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, we kind of ran out of steam, lost funding, and consequently the building process did not move forward. We have since gotten the funds together to put up this metal building, the purpose for which is to store materials that we salvage as a result of our workforce development training program. So Building Value runs a workforce development programs for individuals with traditional barriers to employment to secure full-paying, full-time careers in the construction industry. So we train guys, and our platform is deconstruction. We take houses that are slated to be demolished by private citizens, by the port, by the zoo, by whomever. But instead of bringing in a bulldozer, we bring our crews in and we show folks how things are put together by dismantling them. So we show them how they're put together by taking them apart. We bring those salvaged materials back to our yard on Spring Grove Avenue, where we have a 14,000 foot store. And on the south and north of that store are two 20,000 square foot lots. Okay. We store all the material that we salvage in our facility. A lot of this wood we can't store because we don't have room inside. So consequently, we're storing it all outside. The idea is to bring in this 30 by 50 metal barn so that we can process this wood, kiln dry it, have individuals working on these tools to process the wood and then store it outside and not get it rotted out by being exposed to the elements all year round. That's the purpose of the building.
Gotcha.
And the reason we need the variance is that our property is wedged in between Spring Grove Avenue and Dooley Bypass, and we don't have 500 feet on either side of us, or 100 feet. And the area that it's going into will be not directly connected, but within 50 feet of our existing building, and about, I think it's 125 feet off of the William Dooley bypass, but that puts us too close to Spring Grove. And that's why we're looking for that particular variance. So it's the sort of materials that we sell to promote our workforce development training program.
So do you own the lots then on either side of the building value store? Okay.
Technically, Easter Seals does. We're a subsidiary of Easter Seals.
Sure.
Think that agreements in the packet that I provided.
Okay. And so this proposed metal barn will be located closer than to the William Dooley bypass, or okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. And will that be?
Well, it will be closer to the Dooley bypass than it will be to Spring Grove Avenue. That's
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Which frontage, I guess, is what I'm.
Yeah. Dooley bypass.
And will it be on the, I guess, what is that, the northeast side of the building then, the larger lot there, it looks like?
Correct.
Okay. Gotcha. And let's see, it looks like there's been how long have you been storing the materials outside or operating in the sort of under the paradigm you just described?
We've been at this facility for 15 years, but the storage of materials has been probably in the last 7 or 8 years as we've increased the participation in our program, taking down more houses and doing more deconstruction. And it really limits us on how much work we can do by limiting how much material we can bring in and store outside. If it sits out there and gets rotten, we just throw it away, and those efforts are kind of wasted.
Gotcha. Okay. I thought that I saw in here somewhere that there was going to be an effort as a part of this application to install some additional screening for the outdoor storage. Can you tell me anything about that? So
the plans have been drawn up. John Deere is to the directly north of our property, adjacent to our property. And there's currently a chain link fence separating us from John Deere. And then there's a chain link fence running down the length of our lot on Spring Grove Avenue. And the requirements as part of our deal 2 years ago was to put some black mesh fencing or some fence covering of any color or sort in its place. And I suspect that was because they thought it would be unsightly if you're driving down Spring Grove Avenue.
So will that mesh fencing just be on the Spring Grove Avenue fencing, or will it be throughout the entire property?
Currently, it's just on the drawn on the Spring Grove Avenue side and where the properties adjacent to John Deere, and not on the Dooley bypass side, because there's a natural hedge there that doesn't allow visibility anyway.
Okay. The I think that's all the questions I have now. Anything else you want to say, Mr. Rich, before I let Wes weigh in here?
I don't think so.
Okay, Wes?
Hi, I don't really have anything much to say other than that they did get an approval in 2019 for the ZH case, but then it expired before they pursued the building. So basically just the same exact application as last time. I thought that part of it was the screening on Dooley, but I don't know if that's crucial or not, but certainly the Spring Grove screening on the existing fence on Spring Grove is going to help mask the view, especially since I think there's a new bus or transit station across the street on Spring Grove that would be having a lot of activity and people looking across the street. So
Yeah.
definitely think it's important there.
Will the screen will go along both sides of the building, right? All the outdoor storage there along Spring Grove?
Yes. Well, it will be on the north side of the building, the north side of Spring Grove fence line of that lot.
But not the south side.
Wasn't currently planned for it. The building won't be visible from the metro stop. I took some pictures, but it's a 14-foot high wall or 14-foot high building, which isn't visible unless you are on the northwest corner of our lot. So if Shot Monument, for example, across the street would see it, the top of it, but none of it will really be visible from the south lot or the building across the street. Having said that, if screening is required to enable us to erect the building, then we certainly have no opposition to putting that on our fence on the south side of the lot as well as the Dooley bypass side.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the screening was part of the basically formalizing the outdoor storage use that's been on the site for, you said, 7 or 8 years or something.
Okay.
So typically when outdoor storage use is requested, the screening around it is required.
Gotcha.
So that's why we had it in there. So definitely I think we need the screening in the fence along Spring Grove Avenue as noted. And I mean, I think the building itself would screen the view into the property along Dooley, but maybe there's some areas that would still be beneficial to have the screening back there. So
Yeah, I'm familiar. I was the one I believe who approved the 2019 application, and so I'm familiar with the property in this neighborhood in particular, and I agree that some screening on the south lot could be worthwhile as well for just to screen the outdoor storage of the materials. So if you're not opposed to that, that is something that I may include as a condition of this application. But I wanted to just make certain that was something you understood.
Yeah.
That you weren't opposed to. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we adjourn here today?
No, sir.
Okay. Like I said, I did the approval, I believe, on this in 2019. I think, for the same reasons I articulated in that decision, that this is appropriate for the property, and so I am going to approve it. I will condition that approval with some screening on the fencing along Spring Grove Avenue. Did you say you have a private agreement with the owners of the tractor company to do screening?
No,
Okay.
no,
Yeah.
I have a, from when we had it done last time, I received a quote from a company to come up and install it, but we don't have any particular relationship with them.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm not sure that even that is necessary really, because I think those buildings on the adjacent property screen quite a bit of the outdoor storage there from Spring Grove. And I agree with you that there's some natural screening along the William Dooley bypass, and the Mill Creek Greenway there, I think, has additional screening for folks that are enjoying that space. And so really, I think Spring Grove on both lots is the condition that I'll ultimately have attached to the approval. But as you may recall, or I don't know, maybe I'm not sure what we were doing before COVID, but as I need to formalize that approval in a written decision. The decision typically takes about 2 weeks, just based on the current queue that I have right now. As soon as I finish it, I put it into a PDF. I email it to everybody who's in the hearing here today, so you all will have a copy of it really just moments after it's complete. And as soon as you have that email, that PDF, Wes can approve the zoning permit, and hopefully you guys can move forward at that point.
Sounds wonderful.
Any questions about any of that? Okay. Hearing none. If anything comes up in the future, let me know. Questions wise about process or anything else, look for an email from me in the next couple weeks, and or if you just want a status update on the decision, feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm happy to provide that to you.
Wonderful.
All right.
Well, thank you all for your time and